Over the past 3 days, we've installed this. I'm so pleased to be showing you guys this installation. We're very proud of it. We've put a lot of love into it. We've got 3 days worth of filming from this installation. Well, almost. But more importantly, I'm going to talk to you about my business, where we are now and where we're heading. And then I'm going to talk to you about the concerns I have within the solar sector. But let's go back to day one. I really like this. I got nice grab handles on the side here. Obviously, bend the knees. Oh, lift with the knees always. That's what we're taught. This is where the real meaty part is. So something to bear in mind with these batteries is that they are very heavy. This is an 8 kilowatt section here. This is manageable. However, it does say to do a 2-man lift. You could struggle on your own with this, but it's really not advisable. It is heavy. So if you're going to be installing these batteries, you definitely need 2 men on the job. We've got 28 solar panels going on this roof. We've got multiple rows going on. We have a row of 12 portrait going all the way across this span here. And then above this flat roof here, we've got another 2 rows of landscapes going up there. In landscape, there's going to be a row of 8 and then another row of 8 above that again. The system that we're using here is the Fasten Sol rail system. Our original order was going to have shorter hooks here, but because of the depth of the crowns that we've got here on this concrete tile, we had to have a different type of hook that was actually deeper in depth so that this aluminium rail could sail straight across over the top. And what you'll notice is the back side of this tile has been angle grinded off here. This is really important because it means the concrete tile will sit nice and flatly over the top of this hook. We've been on some installations where we've done some maintenance, not a system that we've installed, but one that we've just gone to do a bit of a routine inspection on. The roofers haven't taken out the back edges. And what will happen is it will make the tiles sit up like this, which then means that there's potential for water ingress with windy weather and also for the wind to get tucked up in there as well. So very important on installations that the back edge of these tiles are angle grinded out so everything can sit nice and flush. So these panels we're using on this system are 450 watts each. They come in this lovely black finish, which looks excellent on the roof. Up close, you can see all the cells, but from up there, you can't see the cells. It just looks like a lovely black. They are 12.6 kilowatt in total array size. That's how we roll.
No stress.
Yeah, no stress. We roll with the flow. Do you want more?
Pull that bit of cable, please, bud. So pull off how much you want for this end and that end, and then we'll do that again and then again as well.
So these are the DC strings that we're currently pulling in. There's a positive and negative 4mm DC cable here. One pair goes in for the top row, one pair goes in for the bottom row. So the guys are currently getting the string straight down, running it between the felt and the battens there. This is quite an unusual sort of structure house. So we're actually able to run it down straight down here. And when we get to that lower level, there's actually a loft hatch further down. There is a loft space here, but there's also a very small separate loft hatch further down. So we can actually bypass going in this very hot loft space here, and we only need to get into the small space down below to get the cables from that ground floor down into the cellar.
Oh, you're through, mate. Yeah, perfect.
Is that the lower hole?
Yeah, mate. How much more you got on you?
I've got a full length here.
Whee. Hold that there. I'll come and retape it. Try and tape up that edge so I don't get snagged. I'll just guide what you push to me, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yep, go on then.
Right, 2 secs.
Yep.
I'm going to take a rod off as we go.
No problem.
It's a bit snug in here. Just going to stick my arm down the hole. Yes. I think that's it, mate.
A little bit more.
Yeah, keep going then. Yes, here it is.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
That should be good. Got 2 25mm armoureds. Quite a complex route because we've got a gateway in the garage. So obviously one's going to be feeding the consumer unit, and obviously what we're doing, we've got a switch fuse unit going in here which will be feeding the gateway. So cable's basically running through under the floor joist and it's going all the way out to the garage. We've got ducts on the outside, so it's a bit of a tough situation, but we're getting there. What's best is to run a data cable through as well, just in case.
All right.
Because I can't see us getting Wi-Fi out there. Oh, nearly had it.
Yes, it's there.
That's it. Push it there. Because as long as I can lift it above the cable. That's it. Right. Have you got a rod hanging out the hole?
Yeah, I've got a full length this side.
Right. Hang on, let me stick one on this end. There we go. Right, let's go and cut that off in the garage then. Right, so basically this cable we've just pulled in now, it's going to be going, we're going to have a gateway go onto here. We've got another one to run through because obviously this will be the main input, and then obviously one back up the home. So we've got all the stack and inverter going here. Going to put the gateway here. So what we're going to do is cut this off, make sure we mark up the end because we need to know which one's going to do what. Yeah, so everything's going to go here, batteries and inverters. Yeah, keep going. A little tiny bit more, that'll do.
Here's the kit that we've had delivered. We've actually got a base plate here for the battery. I'm not even sure if we need this base plate, but I've ordered one anyway because we can always use it on another job. This is our first Sigenergy job. So yeah, it's better to have it at this point than not. So this is actually the inverter. This is actually the inverter that we're looking at. Okay, I will come back to this one because we do want to look at the batteries for a minute. What's interesting about this is that it's an inverter, but they call it a controller. It's just Sigenergy's language. So what else have we got here? I'm interested to see what the weight of this is. So the gross weight of this is 79 kilograms. Net weight, I'm guessing that's with it, without all the packaging, it's 74 kilograms. So that's a meaty section. Now imagine if you had a couple of these, so you had an 8 kilowatt and a 5 kilowatt hour. If you had those two together, say it was in one big battery piece, that is going to be insanely heavy. Right, so what have we got? Okay, we've got our packing list here. I'll take a look at that in just a moment. This looks like the top section here. This is the top section of the top angle of the battery. You can see here, this is where the next unit would then normally clip on top, but we'll look more into that in a bit. Right, so these are the side pieces of the battery. I know it's got an LED light that goes up the side of it somewhere. Not sure where that is, but I'm guessing it's actually on the main battery itself. What's really important now is that we get this right. We've got this, the customer's given us this corner of the building to work with. So it's one of those where we're now here and we need to figure out the best place for this battery stack. Check out the width of the battery. If at maximum capacity it was stacked up here, which is, it won't be at this stage because we only have an 8 kilowatt hour battery. When the time comes that the customer wants more, they will stack up to 6 high. So we need to figure out, measure up to see how high that is. And what's really important is that we know what the clearance is from the top of the battery to the roof of the building, because there is a minimum clearance you must have with these systems. We do see installations where they haven't done that. They literally tuck the battery stack up to the edge, but the problem is that's where companies then fall short of the warranties that these products come with. So it's really important. Positioning is everything at this point.
So before we can go upstairs, let's have a look through this loft hatch here if I can get the steps in properly. So what we're trying to do is trying to find the route, because what we're going to do is bring the DC cables down and then go through the access panel. But we're just trying to determine how we're going to connect the top array to this bottom one and have the cables running safely and correctly.
Right, so we're now getting these DC cables run down. They're going to be coming down through the internal of the building and then straight down through the floor, and then they're going to get fired straight across underneath through the cellar, and then through a duct which has already been concreted into the floor, which joins the house to the garage. That's our DC route straight out. So there's a little bit to do. The other option is to bring the cables externally around the outside of the building. We always try and avoid that, just because it's the aesthetics of the building. We install like how I'd want an installation done on my own property. I don't want cables showing on the outside of my house around the front or the side or the back if I can help it. If there's a better internal route we can take, then we will absolutely take that instead.
That'll do. Down the hatch.
Right, so obviously put the joiner in here. So every metre of aluminium rail should have a mil for every metre to allow for expansion. So these are 3.6 metre lengths. So it's really should have at least 4 or 5 mil minimum to allow for expansion from both sides of the rail. As you can see, I always set that bit first and then I can fix the rest of my railing from there.
Right, we're just going to get the other cable through. We've already pulled through one. So we're going to get back in this tight little cupboard. Hopefully, the second time lucky, it will go through nice and easy. You all ready, Ollie? How have you got in that hole? I do not know. Right, go then. Here it is. Right, hold on. Here it comes. That's it, mate. Great success. So what we're going to do as well, we don't know how good his Wi-Fi is out there, so we're going to run a data cable in just in case whilst we're pulling cables. Next, you know, we'll switch it on and won't be able to get the Wi-Fi. We're not really getting a strong signal on our phone, so... Has that pulled the pipe up? Oh no, it's a joint going across, it's fine. Yeah. Oh, I quit. I'm joking.
This here is the Fast & Sol universal bracket. We really like these. They're slightly springy, and what happens is it just sits in on the lip on one edge like that, and then the other edge, you just push in like that, and that locks it in position. That's now locked in. So great thing is it slides in the rail like this, and when it gets to here, this, say for example, was the last panel in a row. Great thing is you can have it this way, and it will clamp down. There's a toothed edge on the back edge of here, and when that clamps down there, this screw then tightens up on it, and then that holds it nicely in position. And the angle, when you're looking at it from this side, is a nice finished end of the bracket here, if this is the end panel. However, it's going to be more solar panels here, so when this next one goes in, you don't have to have it as just an end. You can spin it around like this, and it will clamp down, and then the next panel will sit under here like so. So hence the reason why it's called universal. It could be used for the end, or it could be used for a mid position. So these are the G-Meg 450 watt panels. They're bifacial, which is great. So it means that not only will you get power from the sunlight on this side, but you also get power from reflected sunlight from this side as well. So in certain applications, this is a very good, very good feature. 2mm toughened glass on both sides, sandwiching in the cells, and it's also heat treated as well. All right, so up this pole here, we have our GoPro set to time lapse right now. So yeah, let's take a little cut and see this all sped up. Right, so we're just looking into the positioning of this system over here on the wall. And so what I've done, I've looked at the data sheets for both the inverter / controller and the batteries, and these are the dimensions of it here. So what was interesting to me is that the inverter is 700 mil wide, but yet the batteries are 765 mil wide, so they're actually wider. Not quite sure why or how. The inverter is the piece that sits at the top of the stack, so the batteries are always at the bottom going up, and then the controller inverter is the piece that goes on the top. So it will still look completely straight as it goes up. When the stack goes here, there'll be some end coverings that go on. I just think that the end coverings for the actual controller cover up the fact that it's smaller in dimensions this way on the top. Right, with our inverter being a height of 300, and each of the batteries is 270. If you can have a maximum of 6 batteries, simple math, 6 times 270, 1,620 mil. If I now add the controller on top, that gives us 1920. Right, okay. That doesn't include the base plate. We don't know if we're using it yet. This is our first system, but let's not worry about that quite yet. Let's just see where that comes up to. So 1920 on the wall, there it is. Right, so the thing is, this is more for future proofing because our stack is only 1 battery and 1 inverter. So it's only going to be the 300 plus the 270. So we're only going up to 570 up to here. So plenty of room for future expansion, and obviously the base plate, which we may or may not need on the bottom as well. But I wanted to really know exactly if this was stacked to full capacity, where it's going to take us, because there are some minimum requirements we must adhere to. So we've got our top height here, and straight up to the roof there, we've got pretty much smack on 450 millimeters. I've just checked the installation instructions, and there is a minimum requirement of 400 mil clearance, so we are within. So that's perfect for us. You can look at that as being a little bit pedantic, as trying to get it exact, but it's really important from a warranty point of view, because we need to be absolutely tight on this, so that if there was to be a problem with the system and they requested photos of the installation, then we're completely covered, because we've done our how do you say the word? Due diligence? due diligence. I've done my due diligence. Right, so we know that these batteries are 765 millimeters wide. So that's up to where my thumb is. So if we allowed a couple of inches clearance from the end of this concrete section here, that brings us all the way up to here. And if I now just measure from the wall, that gives us 330 mil there. So that's over the requirement that we need. We need a minimum of 300 millimeters gap for airflow around the side of the unit. So this is the perfect location for this system. Not only does it floor sit, but it also has fixings that fixes it to the wall as well. So that's going to stop it coming forwards. The only other thing we need to look out for is we won't really know exactly the height of it. I'm a firm believer in get it out the box and give it a proper measure, just to make sure there's nothing that we haven't thought about. So from my point of view, I'm taking these measurements not as gospel at the moment. These are measurements just to give us sort of an idea of what we're dealing with. But ultimately, once we get it all out the box and put in position, we'll be able to get a true exact measurement of everything. Right, so we're pretty much finishing up at the end of today. So the guys have done really well on the roof. They're just wrapping up there. Paul's in there. He's finishing up the mounting inside of there. So yeah, we're just doing these last little bits now, and we will see you in the morning. On our installations, we always fit bird blocker. Really important this is because not only does it protect the panels from nesting, that can damage the panels as well as lowering the resistance and things like that, and basically you won't get as much from the system potentially because of those problems. But another major factor is that if birds are nesting in behind here, and let's say for example the customer has some maintenance done on their roof, then the contractors will come up here, the scaffolding will be up, and then they will lift the panels to find birds' nests under here. I mean, if you're conscientious, then that may not happen, but we know that in the game there are going to be contractors that are going to be thinking, right, I've traveled here to get to this job and this has to happen today, so they will disturb those birds' nests. After that, then you can use your imagination, but depending on how conscientious the person is will depend on the outcome. So bird blocker is really important for now, but it's also very important for the future as well. Okay, so we're cracking on in here. There was quite a bit missed from yesterday's actions. Guys, we're just going to jump straight into it today, basically, and just roll with what we've got. So as you can see, all the kit is already in place, ready. Just adding an additional consume unit up here. As a nice cherry on the top type moment, I said that I would add a consume unit here just to get his sockets and lights working off of this part of the system. You know, we've been trading since 2012. Yeah, we've recently gone into the renewable sector now, which is why we're here doing these installations. Definitely the path we want to be taking now. We need to be doing more as a nation and as a world. You know, I feel like this slight obligation as an electrician, as an electrical contractor to go into this. And I have to say, there's nothing more enjoyable than when the power goes down and that battery kicks in and the whole house is running purely on battery power that's being produced from the sunshine. That for me is the real kicker. I absolutely love that. It's fantastic. It's great for business. It's great for the homeowners as well, with what we're able to do with their electricity bills and things like that. And obviously great for the environment, which is the whole point to all of this. I do have my concerns, and yeah, that's really that I need to touch on with the concern side of things, because there's a lot going on in the industry, and it's not just from one angle. There's many angles to this. You know, there's giants coming in, you know, national companies that are coming in and sweeping up. They come in with great marketing, great advertising, salespeople that come in and promise them the world. But what we're actually finding is that these installations are going to be here for potentially lifetimes. You know, there might be some upgrades to components and things like that, but ultimately, if you buy property and you want your solar installation done by a company, it's going to be there for a long time. It's really important who you get to do it. And a lot of people think that it's a good idea to get the big companies to do it. It's all the branding, it's all the jazz and everything that comes with it. It's all very flashy, the brochures, the leaflets and everything. But the reality is that a lot of these companies are going bust, and they're going bust very quickly. Consumers that have been let down by these companies because they've had an installation, and what they didn't realize is that the installation actually fell short of quality. We get phone calls quite consistently by consumers that are their system's gone down, or they've had somebody in and another contractor's been in for some reason and they've noticed that something's not right, and then we go in and we can clearly see that something's wrong. If we're going to make this big change in the country, then we have to have a balance. Right now, we've got all the installation companies that are coming in, they're booming, and then they're going bust, they're gone. More come in, the next wave comes in and are gone, and so on. Problem is, we need more decent tradespeople to come in and stay in the game and be, having their businesses and installing this stuff, but also maintaining it as well, because this is going to be in everybody's homes at some point. We need that balance. We're currently missing the balance. Everybody needs to do more. The manufacturers need to do more. The government especially need to be doing more. It's a little bit wild at the moment, in my opinion. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your comments, whether you're a consumer and you've got an installation, or you're thinking about having an installation, or whether you're a contractor and you're one of the guys working for these big companies, or whether you're a small business like us, or you're a large business. Whoever you are, I'd really love to hear from you down in the comments. So please leave your comments, and while you're down there, please just hit that subscribe button, because it really helps me as a channel put more content out like this.
Right, so what we've got here, this is the completely set up. This is the grid wiring, so this basically comes from the house mains fuse, if you like, protected by a switch fuse, the other end where the main fuse is, because we've got to protect. We've got, I think it's about 15 metre armoured run here, the one labelled up, going all the way back. Then what we've got is a return cable here, which goes into the backup, and the beauty about these things, it's all labelled underneath as well, so I've got backup there, so it's this one here. We've got a bit of 10mm HO7 feeding this 12 kilowatt inverter. Not gonna lie, when we first got the cable, we got a 16mm, just went a bit overkill, but what you got to remember, it's alright going into this gland, but you got the manufacturer's gland here, you won't get a 16mm 3-core in there. So the 10mm, that was snug getting in, but that is fine. Up here, the customers requested a separate fuse board, because they've recently bought this property. The wiring's a little bit DIY, so what he wanted is a board up there, and then obviously end up redoing all these electrics and getting into here as part of a project that he wants to get done.
So we've just completed the commissioning process, and I cannot believe it's done. We had a couple of teething issues with the internet at the very beginning, but that was on us. That was nothing to do with the system. Unable to join network, right, okay. It looks like Sigenergy store is offline. Unable to join network, okay. The device is connecting to the cloud. Please be patient. Continue to commission. Here we go. Oh, look at this. That's nice. The update is completed. Device is restarting. Maximum of 157 seconds remaining. System check is being completed. Gateway connection connected. Tick, 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 tick against all these things. If this is the final stage of the commissioning, this is mind-blowing. It is the most easiest system we've ever come across. It's so simple. We are rolling. We've got solar. We've got just shy of 5.2 kilowatt of solar production right now, going straight in. It's a beautiful day here, and it's showing that it's going into the gateway, and it's showing that it's charging the battery. 4.2 kilowatts is what's going straight into the battery. The battery is currently on 65%. That was on 64. It's just popped up to 65%. This house is now running completely self-sufficiently on solar power as we speak. There we go. Boom. Look at that. Oh wow. Very interesting use of colours they got now on the blue. Is that you changing it? Ah, the customer's got full control already. So you're already in on the system. So I've connected the system, and you've instantly been able to make yourself a user of it. You got an email.
Oh, that's even better.
Oh, how good is that? We don't have to worry about any of that.
We can do it from the pub.
Yeah, we should be at the pub
already.
already.
Hart, here we come.
Quick, we're losing pub time. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Wow. So guys, that's the installation complete. I have to say that I cannot believe how good this system is. The commissioning, for me, is what makes it the dream. I'm saying this because it is 5:30 on a Friday afternoon. Through no fault of the system, we've completely used all of our time on this job, the whole 3 days. Do you know what normally happen on one of these, on a solar install, is the fact that you go to the commissioning stage and there's problems and it's gone 5 o'clock, you can't get hold of anybody. This system was absolutely flawless. I cannot believe how good the commissioning is. And I'm so pleased we've installed it, because it's not just the commissioning, it's the whole setup of the user-friendly app, how good it is to install, the functionality of the whole system. It is one hell of a looking unit as well. So let me know what you think in the comments, exactly what your thoughts are, because I love it. I love it. I don't think there's anything out there that's beating this at the moment. Let me know what you think. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.